Hey there, guys. Welcome to this week. We have Nick and Sarah, and we're going to do a little bit of Q&A today for something different. Now, I know that the girls have prepped some questions up that I think everyone in Team PLC are having queries and struggles and challenges with. So we're going to go through those in a moment. Guys, just back to last week for a second, though. I hope you enjoyed us going through the full circle of recruitment of new clients all the way through client care and retention and referrals, and then turning back full circle to our new member coming in again. So if you want some more feedback on that one, or you have some questions for me, again, guys, use that chat thread and pop those through. I know a lot of you this week, and the reason I didn't want to go through too much new stuff this week is that I know that so many of you are still catching up on replays and recordings and things like that. I am going to open up, Sarah and Nick are going to hear it first, I am going to open up another week of 30-minute strategy sessions with me too. So if you'd like to book one in, watch the recording and book in. Simple. Okay, we're going to open Q&A time. Welcome, girls. Thanks for jumping in.
That's okay.
Okay, awesome. You have some key questions for me. Let's fire from the top. The floor's yours. Ask away.
So right now I'm having a bit of a challenge with recruitment.
Yep.
So I really need another trainer in North Lakes probably. As we open or before we open, it doesn't really matter. But for Toowoomba, I really need to probably bring on like another one that's more experienced, like a leader, kind of that can help me with the management as well, and another one that's just a rent-based trainer.
Cool.
So one for North Lakes, two for Toowoomba, so I need to recruit 3 in total. And my struggle right now with it is I don't really know what type of content where I should be looking for this, how I should be finding them, or what's worked for you in the past. I find that either they're too young, or they don't have enough experience, or they're not the right culture fit they don't have the right drive. And yeah, it's just a bit of a challenge right now.
Cool. So what are we doing to market your position in the businesses at the moment?
I have an ad on Gumtree. I occasionally do a live video or an Insta story about it, or I'll ask for referrals from other people. I also believe I haven't been taking enough action towards it, and that is also probably a problem.
Okay, cool. I think first things first, have we used Facebook or LinkedIn or a couple of those more, not that Facebook's as professional as LinkedIn, but look, LinkedIn is a great one in terms of professionals. So that could certainly get you a higher level of trainer, someone more experienced. Excuse me.
LinkedIn, because I have an account on there, but I've not used it much. So I'll definitely focus on that.
Definitely food for thought. I think the other one at this time of year, in terms of those who are experienced, guys, obviously it is winter. We've got a lot of trainers outdoors that are looking for some indoor space, I would anticipate. So I personally used to use Seek. I don't use Seek anymore because I got sick of getting brickies, labourers, sparkies, chippies, and everyone outside of the field of health and fitness applying for our positions. For me, I think a Facebook ad is a great thing to run. And I think in terms of what you really want to do here, now, good news, I have a template that you can use. I think the big thing for me is that you really want to showcase what your business, what PLC, what sets you guys apart, what makes you guys stand out from the crowd, and what you really value. That will resonate with people. It won't resonate with others, and that can actually start to sift through candidates as they read through your advert. For me, from an experience perspective, I think personally you might find there are some people in the industry who, as I say, are looking for a career change. Sometimes, and I'm certainly not one to encourage people to poach, but over time, I've certainly worked with a lot of trainers who have just got sick and tired of working in a commercial gym. That's the other thing. And that's where I think looking at Facebook advertising, I think you'll open up that network far greater. Referrals are great. Working in with an RTO, working with a training organisation can be a great one. Purely and simply because not everyone in their courses or programs are straight out of school. You will find there are some people in those courses from, I think they do 8 and 12-week programs. You will find some people within those programs who are finishing up who may even have just a hell of a lot more life experience than obviously someone straight out of school, which is beneficial. No disrespect to anyone else who is under the age of 21 here, but it's obviously something that you guys are looking for. And I think that can really help as well. Okay, so I think, again, rather than going down the Seek path, Gumtree is helpful. Of course, it's free. But I think to running a specific advert on Facebook, I think the other thing that you'll find is you'll be really isolating your reach to trainers specifically in that area, which starts to minimize some problems like transportation, proximity, etc., etc.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make that, like to make a video. What type of things would you include in the video?
What type of thing would I include in the video?
Yeah.
Why? Well, simply put, what's the best thing about being a trainer at PLC? Why choose PLC? Why be part of our team? What are some of the benefits that you're going to derive by being part of our team? And I think the key for me moving forward, and this is probably the biggest note that I take with recruitment now, it's not a job. You want to help someone build a career.
Yeah.
I think you want to help someone build a career in the industry. I don't think it's necessarily, and I think the issue that we find with advertising a job is that people treat it like a job and they roll up at 9, leave at 5, and yep, I've done my session, see you later. You won't get the extra, and as you've already said, Nick, that drive and that passion, that enthusiasm to be up at 5 and get in there and work and be present, be present with the clients. But then also once the sessions are finished, to do some client care, to be active on your pages with advertising, with marketing and things like that. And I think that's where promoting the career, I think, far outweighs a job. Okay, so I think it's the career. Obviously, how you can help them. We talk about opportunity a lot, and again, that's the thing that I always come back to with this. It's very much about a career. It's very much about pursuing a passion. Okay, and I think too, I think if that language and that passion comes through in your advert about your businesses and how much you love and care for them, I think that's where you'll start to sift through the candidates quite quickly, which is great.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Anything else on recruitment for me?
No, that's it.
That's it?
I think so. I just like it's straightforward, but just consistently doing it.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think too, at the end of the day, yes, you are, I think it's nice for them to interview you in a sense as well. But obviously in terms of what you're interviewing them on, a lot of people ask me what questions do I ask in an interview? I'd love to, again, get to know them. I think before you even look at their career and look at what they can bring to the table, because yes, that's very important. I think you want to know what makes them tick. I think you want to know, a bit of their background, where they're from. Let's hear a bit of their story. Let's get to know why they became a PT. Let's get to know about their experience in the industry. And then let's get down to the nitty gritty of, okay, what can you bring to the table? What's your training style? Who do you love to work with? If I was to throw this scenario at you, how would you deal with it? And yeah, okay, it's a little bit of put on the spot, but again, you want someone that's going to fit the mold of your business and fit into your culture, and not just fit into it, but actually add value to it. And that's the key. So yeah, it might be a bit brutal on them, but if they withstand that, sounds like they're going to be a good fit for your business.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Question, you want to ask it?
Yep. Awesome. So, for me, I just had more questions about we're going launching all our 12-week PT programs.
Yes.
I think this is a really big one for me, especially because it's going to be North Lakes and we're not actually there yet. We're not in the building. We're not doing those free PTs with foundations to upsell from.
Yep.
But it would be nice to be able to pre-book some clients for that program. So what would your ways be? How would you go about generating leads for that
and pre-selling?
Yeah,
pre-selling. Okay, so what's our program?
Sexy by Sarah.
Yes, cool, great name. PS, really good name. Okay, so who are we looking to target?
18 to let's say it's 7. Yeah, 18 to 25-year-olds.
Yep, cool.
Females.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Clarifying.
Just clarify that.
18 to 25-year-old females. Probably work in admin or office jobs, or even in retail, things like that.
Cool. Yeah. Love it. Guys, there's 3 angles that we use to market anything. And within the angles, we obviously have great scope different content, different topics, and the like. And let's go through them. The first angle, of course, are the benefits of joining Sexy by Sarah. What are the benefits of the program? These are obviously all of the add values that you'll have over the 12-week period. These will be things like the education. These will be things like the sessions with you. These will be things like the extracurricular activities or social events. These will be things like, or of course, all of this for the investment, which might have a little irresistible offer or something linked to it, or a foundation deal or something like that. But ultimately, we're looking at the benefits of the features and the benefits of being part of that program. Okay, obviously the group of like-minded people. Obviously, your specifically designed programs, all of those sorts of things. So that they're the benefits. The second angle, which is my favourite, is the negative angle. And when we look at negatives here, because we understand that people relate better with negatives than positives, because everyone's got their problems. And as we talked about last week, life is a series of problems. The better you get, the better your problems get. One thing that you might like to hone in on, and one thing that your market will relate to, and let's take an Ashley Bynes or an Emily Sky as an example. They honed in on the young female issues of self-confidence, self-esteem, self-belief issues. Okay, they honed in on those problems. So the negative angle here is looking at the problems that your market faces and showing that your program is a solution to their problems. So as I say, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-belief, again, possibly overweight. And I think when we look at your market, I think one of the important things to keep in mind here is that we want to use the use the language of our market. So they're going to say things like toning. I just want to tone up. I want to lose some weight. They probably want to lose 10 kilos when they don't have 10 to lose. They'll talk about diets. I've tried all these different diets and things like this, and nothing's worked, and this, and I tried this and I tried that, and that didn't work, and that didn't work. Okay. So for me, the negative angle here is really about highlighting the problem. And you guys have probably done some work with Scotty on this before, but it's highlighting the problem, pouring some salt on that problem, make it burn, make it sting, go into those deeper emotional, those emotions and those feelings as to this is why you're feeling that way, and then get them out of there and paint the picture that your program is going to produce for them. Okay.
You can do it in your videos too, and I used to use stories. Like
stories are the best.
And this and that, and then this, I found this and I discovered this and it changed my life, and now I want to give it back to you girls. And this is what I'm giving to the first 5 girls. I'm giving, a special offer. Tag a friend, and I. The same as having the 6 months free for North Lakes and got all those leads. You could do something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Hey, I mean, do a giveaway for someone has completely free program.
Free 12 week Sexy by Sarah challenge.
You definitely have a little prize draw for those. So absolutely.
That's also building brand for what Sexy by Sarah is about, and I'd get a professional videographer to do it.
Yeah, I always thought that something super
I think you do some contacts as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Nice and sharp. So we've got benefits, we've got negatives. The last one, which I know, look, the negative one is my favorite because I think we're in an industry of solving problems. So that's why it's my favorite. My very close second favorite is the client perspective, because there's nothing more powerful than someone else telling everyone else how good you guys are. And that's where your client stories are so good. That's where testimonials are so good. And as much as you may not have launched this program with anyone before, reality is people aren't buying the program, they're going to buy you. And who you are and what you're about and what you do and the way you go about things and the fact that you get results and things like that. Okay, so they're going to buy you. All of those videos that you've been doing to date, and guys, I mean, everyone's social media has been fantastic to see. What have we got? The functional games coming up. We've got North Lakes is about to go back. You guys are. The thing I love with you guys is that you're really building your own profiles as fit pros, and I think that's very important. And I think that's where the balance, as we talked about last week, the balance with our marketing is, yes, absolutely showcasing ourselves and highlighting who we are and what we're about, and that we practice what we preach. But the flip side then is, and the question that your girls will ask is this: Sarah, you look amazing. That works for you, but will it work for me? And that's where, if you can answer that question by utilizing some client perspective, sharing stories, doing some chats, before and after photos, even results that have been achieved within Toowoomba, it doesn't matter. Again, joining those dots. That's okay. It's just a matter of joining those dots. Yeah. And that's really the sequence that we love to use. I mean, Gary V's big on this with jab, 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 hook. Yeah. Problem and solution. So we highlight a problem. Yep. You show that you get your market. You show that you do what you say you do. So we share, you training, the group's training, things like that. We show that what you do works. That's jab, jab, jab. And then the last one is hook and righto. Here's what we've got. We're launching Sexy by Sarah in Toowoomba on this date. And this is what we're launching with. Okay, which could be a giveaway, a prize draw, could be a foundation offer, lots of things that you could do. My advice would be, rather than doing a foundation offer, my advice would be to actually give someone a 12-week program.
That's what I thought.
And keep everyone else on your weekly direct debits as we planned.
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely thought that for sure.
We can plan this.
Yeah.
Yep. So does that answer that one with your three angles?
Love it. Yeah.
And as I say, there are obviously underneath benefits, negatives, client perspective. You've got great scope to do, as I say, videos, posts, stories, anything within that. With the negative, I think people, for me, you turn the news on at night, not that a lot of us watch the news, but you turn the news on at night, the first story you hear is always negative. So people are always going to relate to the problem.
Yeah.
So I think that's where using a story to explain the problem, and then obviously how that's been overcome, and how, even if it's your own personal story, how you fix that. And that would be my last piece of advice with this, and my last piece of advice to everyone launching their own programs. Who's Sarah? We've got Sexy by Sarah. Okay, so who's Sarah? What's she about? What's she been through? Why she developed this? How she put it together? And use that to really set the scene, set the tone, and use that as a platform to launch off.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Covered recruiting. Covered launching Sexy by Sarah. What else have we got, girls?
Yeah, I was just writing notes, but I was thinking of things.
That's okay.
Oh, the semi-private. So I have a bit of a limiting belief that because we are a group fitness training centre, how could our trainers do small group effectively? Because we already do 5 classes a day, people are already paying membership. So I'm just wondering if you could shed some light on that and crush that belief.
Cool. Let's crush it. For me, big difference. Between semi-private and group. And I think at the end of the day, now, yes, don't get me wrong, they're all very much results-based training services now, and I think that's really what you guys do so well. You've got your body scans there. You've got we encourage you to include some fitness testing and have some fun with that, because that in itself produces some friendly banter. And Brucey hit 100 push-ups in a minute. Who's going to beat him next week? And things like, and it just gets that member engagement up and pumping. Semi-private for me is no different to PT and what we're offering. And I think there's some key things here. And with the one-on-ones that I did a couple of weeks ago, semi-private was something that was brought up quite a deal. So I was actually happy to go through this today. For me, it's important to remember that semi-private is still a PT style of service. So we're still, and how we do that is really important. Because quite often what we find is we talk about semi-private PT and we get 4 people who can make a particular time slot, and we go and put a workout on the board and off they go. That's not semi-private PT. Let's go back and look at what PT is. PT is all about, this is the client goal. This is where the client's at. this is what we need to achieve to get there. Let's write a program. So here's our first month of training. Here's our nutrition program. Off we go. Semi-private's no different. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, but hang on a second, how do I do that in a group of 4 people? And this is where it really comes down to your consultation and your screening process. Okay. Now, why promote semi-private PT over PT? Simple. Guys, it's double the profitability on average. Okay. So roughly, again, going rate in the industry at the moment, $50 for 30 minutes for PT, for one-on-one. Generally, what we find with semi-private is you're looking at $25 per person per session. So it's not quite double the profitability, but it's very close, because you're looking at, and even though I encourage people to extend out to 45 minutes with semi-private, you're still making $100 for 45 minutes instead of $100 in an hour. Okay, so more profitable for you guys as trainers. Now, how do we make semi-private a success? Simple. We need to have a very diligent screening and consultation process. Semi-private works best when we group people in 2 ways. 1, by goal, and 2, by ability. So we still want people deadlifting and squatting. We still want people bench pressing. We still want people doing chin-ups. We still want people doing those movements, but we want them completing their specific program. Okay, we want them completing their specific program that we know that by completing this program, they're going to get stronger, and by this, they're going to work towards their goal or whatever that goal may be. What I think happens with semi-private PT or small group PT and where it gets lost is that trainers open up time slots and they whack 4 people or 5 people into those time slots, and they put a workout on the board and say, there we go, there's a PT session. That's not PT. Okay. So the thing to remember with semi-private is that it's still very much, we still want to, as much as there's 4 people in that session, we still want to make it as individualized as we can based on program. And yes, people might work together. And this is where it helps, guys, because if you've got people who are grouped on ability and goal, they're going to be working through similar type programs. So they're going to be able to work together, and you can have one working, one resting. While one's deadlifting, the other one can be spotting. While one's bench pressing, the other one can be spotting, and they can be changing over. They can still be working on the same movements. They might be at different strength levels, but they're still working on the same movement. And I think that's the key. And I know that so many of you have asked me this question over the last couple of weeks as to how do we make it best work. That's how you make it best work, guys, is to group people based on goal and ability. And then knowing that, okay, not everyone's going to have the same goal exactly, but if you've got people grouped in that way, you're going to find that they can then work in different pairs. They won't work in the same pair all the time, but you'll find that the session that you run is more programmed, is more specialized, and is more specific than putting a workout on the whiteboard and saying, there guys, off you go, there's your session, and I'm just going to rah-rah. So that's the difference.
Yeah, so much more value in that.
And there is because you're still getting the interaction with the trainer.
And how many people do you have maximum in your small groups?
Look, for me, personally, I'm a semi-private fan. I think the exclusivity of 4 people per session, where people can work in their pairs and work together. I mean, for me, it was something that I experienced with my sporting career as well as in our own studios, and we found it worked really well. And the reason it worked really well was because we're able to change pairs, we're able to change partners, we're able to push each other along. So I like max of 4. I think it starts getting into small group PT at 6 and 8. And that's where I think you start pushing the friendship of, but hang on, we're paying this much for groups, and why would I then pay extra for this when it's really not that? That's where I believe you sort of start pushing the friendship. I do know, however, and again, there's lots of different ways to do this. I do know, however, of studios that do offer small group PT where they cap numbers at 6 or 8, and they do have a timetable that you get unlimited access to. For me, I think you then miss the atmosphere of a big group session and a big team training session, and I think you'll lose that little bit of culture.
You have to be here at this time.
What's that?
And the accountability, if you have to be here at this time because this is your set session time, like this is you're with your 4 people at this time.
Exactly. And I think that's, and for me, that's where, I mean, you're then achieving a similar accountability level as one-on-one PT. Because when it's one-on-one, no, we're here at this time, bang, let's go. It's no different with the 4. Okay. It's really no different. Okay. But I think that's the key to it, to have a very diligent screening and consultation process where you can then group people based on goal and ability and have them working together on their own individual programs. But those individual programs will be quite similar because, again, you'll have people, and this is where, and Nick, I mean, this is where I can imagine, and I think you've sort of grown that belief from. If you start pairing people, one can deadlift, one can't, well, you don't, not really, it doesn't really work. You've got someone that's happy to load up 100 kilos on the bar and deadlift, but then you've got someone that can't lift it and you go, well, that's just going to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
And
I also need to remember is that we don't do a whole lot of heavy squats or heavy deadlifts or heavy benches or heavy weights in our functional training, which is where that small group training needs to come into, because I think we do, sometimes our male market starts out here, or our fitter female market, then they progress to a certain, want to start lifting heavier, and then we'll go to worlds and something like that instead, where I think it could be an option to capture that market in a different way.
100%. And here's probably the I gave you guys a knowledge bomb before because you were early, but here's the other one for me. The one thing that I've encouraged all of my clients to look at is, rather than calling it semi-private PT, call it, I like to call ours a performance session.
Yeah.
I like to use the terminology of performance.
Like a boring name. Yeah. I hate the name of it, actually.
Cool. I like the concept, and again, this is just my own belief, semi-private 4 people, and I think that's max. For me, the value is in that performance session, 4 people, lifting heavy, doing things that they wouldn't normally do in your other sessions is the key, like your deads and your squats and your bench and your chins and things like that. As an example, again, I have seen some of the sessions and you do chin, that's cool, but might be weighted chins or weighted dips and things like that. Again, different. But I think that's where the value for me is in that performance, where you show people that you can take them to another level by being part of, but by having that membership or being part of that particular service or being part of that particular performance sessions member. Okay, so I think that's where the value lies, is absolutely. And again, this is why I say no different to one-on-one PT, because obviously people understand the difference between big team training and one-on-one PT. They know they're getting a trainer there who's going to, yep, we're on the deads, here we go. And they've got that attention and that focus from a trainer 100% of the time. Now, performance training or semi-private, you're not going to have the 100% focus and attention of the trainer, but you're going to have it a hell of a lot more than you will in a group, in a big group atmosphere. Okay, so there's value in that. There's value in doing things other than, again, your body weight, more functional type of movements. I still think squats and deads are quite functional, but again, if you're looking at a market that might be starting with you guys and then wanting to improve their strength, is this something that you can now offer by offering performance sessions?
Yeah.
So, look, I hope that answers the question for you guys, of course, but also for everyone out there, and just something to look at moving forward. The beauty of it is, there's more bang for the buck for the client, because obviously on average what happens is they roughly get 2 performance sessions a week for the price of one-on-one PT. So there's great value. 2, you guys get to help more people in less or the same time. And 3, there's greater profitability there as a business owner because of the way that things are set up. So it really is a win-win for everyone. And I think the biggest win of them all is that you guys get to coach and the clients get that focus back to, now don't get me wrong, everyone's there to achieve results, but the clients at that level to participate in the performance sessions are really getting that performance out of their session. So as I say, it's a win-win for everyone.
especially with the functional games coming up.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Pumped for that.
I know, you gonna come?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you gonna compete?
Absolutely not.
Oh, no.
I've got guys. I've got about, when are they? They're November, aren't they?
Yeah, and the first weekend of December.
First weekend of December. I've got about 6 months of no sleep coming up, so I'll see how I go.
Oh, yeah. How soon until your baby's born?
I would, if we're lucky to get another 4 weeks, we've done well.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, very excited.
Exciting.
Very excited. Yes. So don't be surprised if he joins in some sessions coming up.
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. Any more questions, guys? And look, again, for those of you watching the recording, I hope this has helped. And again, just to sort of reiterate what I started with, guys, if you want more answers around performance or semi-private or recruitment or anything like that, guys, those strategy sessions are open again this week, Thursday and Friday in particular. So if you want to book one of those in, again, let's do it different this week. Let's go through the big chat thread so that everyone starts to cotton on a little bit as well, just for something different. Be good. Yeah. Girls, any more questions for me?
I think so.
I think so. Good? Happy? Awesome. Awesome. All right. So again, guys, just to sort of wrap today up, again, hope those answers have helped. Most importantly, though, I wanted to have a bit of a consolidation week this week. I know we've been through a lot of content. Great to hear from the girls that their referral programs and what they're doing there is really working. Also great to hear from again, client care retention perspective that there are some things that we're putting in place there throughout the clubs that are really starting to show through, even with producing new referrals. Okay, I know I think I talked to Louis the other week about signing new members up and having those trial passes there for people to, come along and join in because they're going to see that you've joined PLC on their social media. So some little things there that we can be doing. Again, guys, strategy sessions are open this week, so feel free to take those. Sarah and Nick, big thanks to you guys for jumping in today and asking all those cool questions. By the same token, if anyone else does have a question for me, again, flick it through the chat thread. I'll either get to it, or if it's a really good one, I'll answer it in a session like this next week. Okay. Thanks for your time, girls.
Wait, I'm going to do boomerang first.
Cool.
Good, I love it. You look really attractive.
Can you say it?
Yeah, well, thanks.
There you go. We've just been boomeranged.
Oh, actually, then you should do one for me really on my story. It's my story. Alright, ready?
Do that.
Just the socials,
Hey, it
I'll
works.
give you a shout out, bro.
What's that?
I'll give you a shout out.
Oh, thank you muchly. Thank you muchly. Awesome, girls. Look, you have a great week. Have a great week to everyone else watching the recording.
Yeah.
Posted. See you guys.